Well, no one expects to get injured on the job, but it can happen.
That's why employees should know their rights when it comes to workers' compensation. This morning, we welcome Mathew Flatow and Missy with SeiferFlatow. Good morning to both of you. Thanks for being here today.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Workers' comp. First off, let's start with this. What types of accidents are most common in the workplace?
Well, there are a lot of types of accidents that can happen. It's just like an everyday accident. Walking down the street, you slip and fall. Same thing happens when you're at the workplace. Slip and falls, if you are maybe typing on a computer for a long period of time, you have some overexertion, you can develop carpal tunnel, things like that. Pretty much an injury that can happen in your everyday life. All those injuries can happen in the workplace as well.
And sometimes it's not an injury, it could be like disease.
Yeah, that's true. Occupational diseases, people don't realize. They'll go home and they'll feel sick and they don't know what caused that. And that's why we tell people, talk to your doctor. The doctor will tell you what are the causes of this, and if those causes are work-related, whether you're working around chemicals or other situations, it could also be workers' compensation.
Okay, so for people who are watching, if somebody gets hurt on the job, what do they need to know? Do they automatically qualify for workers' compensation?
Most employers have an insurance company that is trained to evaluate the cases, and they will look at the law and see if your injury, warrants workers' compensation. But if the insurance company denies your claim, that's not the end of it. In North Carolina, we have an industrial commission that reviews every workers' compensation claim. So if you get hurt at work, the best way for it to work is that the employer and everyone agrees that they owe the compensation, and then they just pay it. But if that doesn't happen, we do have an industrial commission that should step in to make sure the proper benefits are paid.
You see, there's a problem, though, and a problem, because I saw this in football a lot. Guys are afraid to file a workers' compensation claim because they think they're going against the employer, but that's not really necessarily the truth.
That's the thing. I always tell people, it's a very common question I get. You are not suing your employer. This isn't a lawsuit. You're just merely asking for the benefits that every employer in this state is required to give. If you open a business, whether it's a football team or a small law firm, you are agreeing that if people get hurt, you're going to take care of it. And every employer has to have insurance to pay for that. So you're not going against your employer. You're not suing your employer. You're just getting the benefits that are provided for you.
That was a very good question, because you're right. I think a lot of people do wonder that. What kind of compensation are injured employees entitled to?
Well, there's two different types of compensation. You can get medical compensation, which means you get paid for any kind of medical treatment you need, physical therapy, doctor's visits, things like that. And then there's wage replacement, which is essentially where you get checks to you for the time that you're out of work. So those are the big ones.
Okay, so what happens if my claim is held up? Is there any other place I can go, an arbiter that could go ahead and help me in this case also?
Well, what you would do in that case is, like Matthew was telling us, we have the Industrial Commission, which can kind of help you with those things. So the Industrial Commission is going to make sure your claim is taken care of, and you can hire an attorney as well. I know a lot of times people get worried. They think, even if my claim is being approved and everything seems to be going fine, do I need an attorney? What do I do with that? But the way that I always like to tell people to think about it is that the people on the other side, the insurance company, they have attorneys at their disposal. They're calling them every day. They're talking to them. So you don't want to be the person who doesn't, know what's happening and think that no one has an attorney when really they have them every single day.
So at what point should someone hire an attorney? I mean, the second they think that they get hurt on the job, or maybe talk a little bit more about that.
It's a funny question. The way workers' compensation attorneys get paid is by a percentage of your recovery. So I tell people, if you hire me right at the end of your case, I get the same amount of money as if you hire me the day you got hurt. But in that case, you had me the whole time, and I'm there to make sure everything goes smoothly. So we tell people, the day you get hurt, hire an attorney. It's not, the employer won't look at that poorly, because the employer knows they have a team of attorneys. So the quicker you get someone on your side, the better.
Okay, here in North Carolina, quickly, are the rules a little bit different, a little bit more lax, a little bit more liberal? Because going state to state, it's a little bit different. In
North Carolina, the way it's written in the statute is that the rules should be liberally construed to provide benefits for injured workers. And what that means is if you get hurt at work, we want that person to get the medical coverage, the lost wages, and we want them to get back to work. That's how that's how it should function. So that's in North Carolina. I can't compare it to every other state, but we do try to make sure that people who get hurt are taken care of.
Missy and Matthew, thank you so much. To learn more about workers' compensation, call SeiferFlatow. The number is 704-512-0606, or visit them online at SeiferFlatowLaw.com, SeiferFlatowLaw.com. Note the spelling is there on your screen. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right, well, coming up.